Okay, hello everyone. Our live is just getting started, so we'll let people kind of come in and log on. A few minutes, a little preview behind me, the awesome work. And there's Nick. Okay. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the live stream. Today I'm joined by Akron Soul Train Members Show Spotlight artist, Nick Lee, whose exhibit, A Ripple in My Reflection, will be up in the Capsule Gallery through July 22nd as part of our Members Show. So there's still a couple weeks to see this work in person, and it's amazing to see in person. Definitely try to get here. See, our gallery hours are Wednesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we are having extended hours on Fridays throughout the course of the show until 7 p.m. A quick thank you to our sponsors, the GAR Foundation, the Akron Community Foundation, the Ohio Arts Council, the Leonard Family Foundation, Brennan Family Foundation, the Char and Chuck Fowler Family Foundation, and the Knight Foundation. For those viewing, please feel free to ask questions and comment below. And also, please tell us how you like this type of virtual programming so we can keep bringing you really cool projects and programs like this. Okay, so we're going to get started with Nick Lee. He is a 2021 Kent State graduate whose work uses portraiture and personal narrative to explore issues of diversity and representation. And I'm going to switch my camera. And there we go.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming to a virtual experience of my solo exhibition, A Ripple in My Reflection. The idea behind this solo exhibition came from Yuri Kochiyama, who was a civil rights activist, and she is best known for her work with Malcolm X, but Yuri Kochiyama was in the Japanese American concentration camps, and one of the quotes that I have in my statement comes from a quote she said when reflecting on her time after the camps, and it is, I'll just read verbatim from my statement. She said, "I was so red, white, and blue. I'm a totally different person now than I was back then. I was naive about so many things. The more I think about it, the more I realize how little you learn about American history. It's just what they want you to know." And that's how I thought about Yuri Kochiyama, because I had never learned about her in school, so it's ironic that statement comes from her. But this exhibition is just my experience as a Japanese American in a post-pandemic society and era. So if we want to start with the first painting,
Yeah.
we could. A lot of the works in this show are self-portraits. I made this last year in 2022, and it's called Remembrance. And this piece was inspired by the Japanese American concentration camps. During last year, 16 Republicans voted against educating the public on the Japanese American concentration camps. So I wanted to use myself as a mountain to be a staple to show that these issues still matter and that we need to learn our history. I noticed in this country that education seems to be censored, and only through one guise of narrative. And there's so many stories that we need to know, and it really goes back to what Yuri Kochiyama was saying, how little we do know about our own history. And a lot of these, and all the self-portraits, they come with these little birds, and these birds are the wooden bird pens that they made in the concentration camps. And the landscape of this painting is one of the concentration camp memorial sites and on the West Coast. So yeah, so we can probably move on to the next one. I made this one recently for the exhibition. It's called Keep Us From Evil. And this one was I was just thinking about how we as a country say that we are free religion for all religions, and we can practice any religion, but we prioritize the Christian faith. And I was raised in a Christian household, so a lot of these ideas are not foreign to me. Like, I understand them, but I wanted to use a line from the Lord's Prayer, and also one of these Dormo dolls that people may not be familiar with. These Dormo dolls are named after the Buddhist monk who prayed for 9 years and lost his arms and legs, and that's why they're just the heads. But these come in different colors, and they grant the user different wishes, I suppose. And so the black Dharma doll is protection from evil and evil spirits, and that's what I just wanted for the Asian American community. I wanted to aid in protection. And I wanted to expand my subject matter more. I wanted to make more still lifes. So this is one of the 2 still lifes in this exhibition. I included a feather behind the Dharma doll because when the user gets the doll, they're supposed to cover the left eye or mark it in with a black dot, or you can color it in, and you're supposed to leave the right eye empty. And then when your wish is granted, you color in the other eye, and then you set it on fire at the temple. And so I really wanted to get that flaming effect from the feather. And I use birds and fish a lot to represent Asian migration to this country, and they're also cute too. So yeah, we can go on to the next one. This is another self-portrait I used in the show. It's called Wings. This was just my feelings of feeling isolated. Growing up, I didn't really have a community, so I thought if I can use this bird pin and release it to the sky, maybe I could grow wings too and go to the West Coast and find more people like me. But yeah, I don't usually use flat colors like this, so this was a little new for me. Yeah, and I made this last year as well.
Yeah, it definitely has like a graphic quality to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that as we kind of go through the show, the use of objects, and then you talked about the still lives, and they almost to me read like portraits. Like you're creating a portrait of the person that used those items,
right.
Or those items almost take on like this narrative humanity like quality, and like a stand-in for an actual person.
Right. Yeah, someone at the show, they told me, I think maybe it was the opening, they told me, yeah, your still lives look like you. And I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about that, but
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, because there's so many ways to make a portrait of someone.
Right.
You don't always have to use the likeness,
Right.
technically, of them.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. This is the main self-portrait in this exhibition. It's on the postcard. It's called Self-Portrait with in the Delusion State of Mind. And this was kind of the start of this exhibition. I was just realizing as an adult how unfair this country treats people of color, especially Asian Americans, and just drawing on from my own community of Japanese Americans. I laid my hand on my chest to like grab my pearls in a way to show how shocked I am, because my dad, he is a war veteran. so is my uncles and my grandfather, but yet I still felt like I wasn't exactly quote unquote American, just how people treated me. And so I realized while looking at other people's experience, they also share these feelings as well. There's a lot of symbolism I use in this work. For instance, I have this color block shirt to show the two sides that I have, both as someone who's Asian American and someone who also comes from European descent, or the European Americans as well. There again, there's another bird pen that's used in these works. This bird pen I used in a funny way just to make the bird pen look at, or the bird just look at where my hand position's at. He looks like he's intrigued on what I'm doing. And if you do the national anthem, you put your right hand over your heart. I believe this is my left hand, so this is somewhat an ode to that. This black hat is a representation of bad luck. I think in America that we use black hats for that, for Halloween and that stuff, so I wanted to include that as well. It's also a reference to two other artists. Frida Kahlo is a big reference in my work. I loved her use of symbolism and her use of how she uses, technically how she paints. That's really interesting. And another artist that people may not be familiar with is Tasugaru Fujita, who was a Japanese painter who lived in Paris in the 20th century. And he was well known there, but in America we don't really teach about him. But he made figurative work. A lot of it is like very tongue-in-cheek with cats, and so the cats are usually a little bit closer to him, but this was a reference to him and his like quirkiness, I guess. But the cat looks like he could jump at the bird at any moment. Speaking for the peach, this is a topa plum, or plum, I guess. And this plum is a Japanese-American hybrid, and I use that as a symbol of myself. And you can see there's a big chunk bitten out of it. A lot of art history, as people know, is related to the Christian faith and a lot of Renaissance art. And I always loved Renaissance work, like Botticelli and Michelangelo, Leonardo. But that's a reference to the apple from Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So the fruit of knowledge. So I take a bite out of it, I'm aware of how things are. And then the mask behind me is put up just to show that how fresh we are from COVID and the 2020 pandemic. So yeah. Now we can probably move on to the next one.
Yeah.
This one's titled Blood Ties. I named this one to show my relation to both my Japanese and European heritage. When I was making this, I was thinking about my time working in Cleveland. I was working at Lowe's and also the Van Gogh exhibit as well. And so there's a lot of people that work there, and so I had people ask me questions all the time, sometimes about my race and ethnicity. One lady asked me, these are both coworkers from different places, but one of them asked me, is Nick your real name? And I'm like a third generation Japanese American, so I was a little bit taken back, and I was like, well, my name's Nicholas, if that's what you mean. So,
Oh my goodness.
I asked her the same questions, and I don't know, it's good that you ask questions, and she didn't mean any harm by that, but I just thought, just because the way I look, people question, or whenever I'm new to this country, and I just thought that was interesting. But this painting just shows that those people that ask those questions, their ancestors come from a boat too. They come from another country. We're not native to this country unless you're indigenous. So we all came to this country through immigration or by force. I make that a point in my statement. My grandmother immigrated here from Japan in the 1960s, and my family goes back even further from Europe. They come from England, and they come from Scotland. And so I just wanted to make that clear. The necklace that I use in this painting is a St. Christopher necklace. It's very popular in Hawaii to give to, I think they were used in the 60s to give to people to know that they were going steady. That's what I believe that I read. But one of my friends gave me that on her trip to Hawaii, and Japanese Americans are known to live in Hawaii. I wanted to use it as maybe like as an umbilical cord to my grandmother. And I dedicate this piece to her. I tried to write her name in kanji, and it just shows you, and there's like blood sprinkled throughout the piece, to show that this land was stolen, and we shouldn't judge others just because they look different, because we all come from different places. And yeah, I also I think that we need to be more educated about different cultures, because one of the ladies I worked with, she called me the Oriental boy, and that's just like an old, outdated term, and we should always encourage people to learn more, to know the proper terms to use.
Yeah, definitely.
So if we move on to the final piece. This one's called Unsung Americana. This painting depicts my cousins, who are Japanese Americans. Her two sons are also black, and we are also mixed race. My first cousin and I, with Asian and white, Japanese and European. But if we look at America right now, we see a rise in violence against Asians. We see a rise in school shootings. So this was on my brain when I was making this painting. I wanted these eggs to be a representation for mothers, like raising their young to be slaughtered in a way.
With the snakes coming at the chick. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I found out that a two-headed serpent, not in Japanese culture, but Mexican culture, means death. And so I thought that was an interesting concept as well. And I make the snake red, white, and blue because I feel that our country fails to protect a lot of its people. And there's flying fish in the sky to show a hybrid of species, I guess, because we all are hybrids, me and my family. And I use that a lot in my work. And they carry around the title of the piece. Japanese masks are often used in the work to show protection for them and for other Japanese Americans and Japanese people. And I wanted the piece to have multiple viewpoints, so your eyes taken around the whole composition. You have these targets also with these airplanes to show that they're being targeted. And if you notice, she's wearing this necklace for protection as well. The St. Christopher in the last piece. I also put a shout out to Keith Haring because there's a Keith Haring exhibition going on until September, I believe. So
yeah, at the Akron Art Museum.
Yeah, and that's just I also put that to make my reference to American art as well.
Yeah, that sort of like American cultural art zeitgeist.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm really inspired by him because he was a young artist. he wasn't afraid to speak his truth and to make people uncomfortable and to talk about things that are really important. And so that's why I reference him as well. So that's all I got. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, if anyone watching has any questions that they would like to ask Nick, you can type them in now. If you're watching this after the live stream, go ahead and ask those questions, and I can be your liaison. Let's see, we talked a little bit about the objects as portraiture, and I think that that's a really interesting kind of way that you could be working towards. And I'm loving like all this symbolism and stuff. Has that always been apparent in your work? Or do you feel like you're getting more and more into it the more you learn or the more you continue working through this subject matter?
So using objects as
Yeah, using objects and using like the symbolism of different pieces and stuff.
I would say yes. In the last couple of years, the work has pertained that as well. Yeah, throughout college, I didn't really know what subjects to do, and then I realized that I can use myself and my people as a reference, because we need that. We need as a public to learn about these things, and these objects, they're can be used as educational devices as well. So yeah, I'd say the last couple of years I've started using them.
Yeah.
And I want to continue to do that as well.
Yeah. And then the other thing I kind of love is the confrontational part of the portraits. Like everyone is very confronting of the viewer, and you're asking the viewer, like, look at me, see me in a way, or I can see you, you need to see me.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really powerful. Even the objects are confronting the viewer because they're looking out,
Right.
or like being perceived as looking out.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because with this piece right here, the three people in this painting have different facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
The mother, she has a more concerned look on her face, not really sure what to do, asking maybe for sympathy for her boys. The older child maybe has like a little recollection of what's going on, and he's angry at the viewer for complying in the situation. And then we have kids who don't really understand what's going on, and that represents the youngest boy in the painting.
No, it definitely, that the generational aspect, the age aspect, the understanding of the world, and as you continue to understand or learn about the world.
Right.
What are your upcoming plans that you have coming up for maybe the rest of the year, or the direction of this type of work?
Yeah, so starting on the 17th of this month of July, I'm going to be starting a residency at Akron Soul Train in Shaker Heights. So I'm going to be painting Japanese Americans with that, and that's also going to include more like significant Japanese cultural items as well, and pieces that the subjects will be holding. And I'm really excited for that. That's going on for a month from July 17th to August 19th, so please visit. We're going to have community nights where we watch films and have talks. One of the films is about a Japanese American growing up in Cleveland. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I talked to the director of it, so hopefully we can get him in an interview or something like that. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, he seems willing to do that. And another documentary is about Yuri Kochiyama, who we talked about earlier today, and Angela Davis, and their work together as civil rights and human activists in America. And then after that, residency is over. Starting in September, I'm going to be painting still lifes, acrylics with acrylic paints, and that's that's going to be with Fever Dream, which is a new residency up in Tremont. And I'm going to be doing that from September to November. And with that residency, I'm going to be painting different kinds of still lifes. They're going to be an ode to Japanese pop culture and how everyone loves Japanese pop culture, like Sailor Moon, Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then, but I also want to make some still lifes that are educational for people to see, maybe with some Japanese lore and like the Hanyo mask.
Oh, I love that. Because
Yeah.
it definitely is. I feel like Japanese culture is so commercialized,
Right.
and especially in the like quote unquote West,
Yeah.
that people forget some of the lore or the cultural significance of where it's coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel my grandmother, when she immigrated to this country, she didn't teach her sons. She had 4 sons. She didn't teach them her culture. And so I wasn't taught my culture from my dad. So a lot of this stuff I'm learning now. And I'm finding other people who feel like I do, who want to build a stronger community and learn about where we come from.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I love that. Okay, well, I'm just going to go back to my notebook and give you guys one last view of the show before we wrap up. And switching my camera again. Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Nick, for taking us on this tour of your exhibition of Ripple in My Reflection. Once again, the member show and this spotlight show will be on view through July 22nd. So I encourage you all to come and see this powerful work in person. And once again, our gallery hours are Wednesday through Saturday from 11 to 4 with extended hours Fridays until 7 p.m. Thank you all for joining us, and I'll see you in the next live stream.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.